Hi, welcome to Slideshow. My name is Dave Hayward. I'm the founder of Europa Creative Partners, and this episode is our very first ever crossover episode with our friends from the AI Corner. And we have Mike, who is the managing partner of Allexive, and we've got a really exciting demo-based episode for you today. Mike, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Dave, for having me. Looking forward to this session, and I'm putting myself under the pump with this one, but we'll talk about that in a sec. High level, Kiwi born, Kiwi based. I've just come back from overseas, but started up the AI Corner when I returned to New Zealand to spotlight the leaders in New Zealand's AI ecosystem and round up the news through a newsletter, plus on social media. And I'm leading Allexive, which is effectively an AI services consultancy and agency, and the business basically runs in two swim lanes, which is all around helping businesses with their AI operations, implementation, governance, training, strategy, all that good stuff. And then also the agentic commerce space, which is where the future of commerce is heading, how do agents buy on behalf of humans from a merchant or a retailer's agent. So we partner with the biggest players around the world to make sure that they are prepared for the agentic commerce future that's coming. So living and breathing everything across the space, and excited to get into the discussion with you.
Yeah, well, you're a real pioneer in, particularly in the AI comms space, at least, with the AI Corner. So I'm, super pumped and grateful that you're here. Shall we talk a little bit about what we thought? Because one of the, I guess, principles of Slideshow is that we either have people come in with a kind of a slide deck, or they bring in a live demo, and you've got something really cool for us to have a look at. And it's a sort of, as usual with demos, a bit of a high wire act, where we're doing it warts and all, essentially, which is, I think, the only way you can approach AI as a non-deterministic system. So
I think you've actually hit the nail on the head there with the non-determinism, because not only is the output completely unknown from AI, the output from this session is going to be completely unknown, because I'm going to throw myself into the fire. We're going to showcase how to use different AI tools, and not in a demo fashion, but through a randomly generated task, which will make marketing related, for me to complete the task within 30 minutes using only AI tools. So basically AI is going to determine what tools we use, what the outcome is that we're after, the brief basically, and maybe even some of the steps that I'll go through. And you'll see how I like to work to use these tools to get them to achieve the outcome. And we'll slip in and out of the rules of what the AI gives us. We'll do as best as we can to use the tools they provide, but we might even throw in a few extra ones depending on what we need to do. So the task could include, might need to design a campaign. We might need to redesign a process. We might need to build a new process. We might need to create a new application. There's a whole raft of different directions that this could go down. So I'm looking forward to basically hitting the roulette button and seeing what we come up with.
Yeah. What platform are we actually in at this point that we're actually prompting into?
Good question. So what we're doing is we're working within Perplexity browser, which is Comet. And the reason I use Comet is we have this lovely little assistant on the side here. Comet is an AI browser for those that may not be familiar, but effectively I can not only use the browser like I could with Chrome or Safari and just search the web, but Perplexity Comet has a lot more features around. I can deploy agents within different tabs to do tasks for me on my behalf. I can use the assistant on the side here to talk to different tabs as well as my kind of thought partner, or to talk across tabs. It retains all the context of the conversation I'm having. So there's different capabilities around Comet which are really valuable. And then we are working within ChatGPT, and in particular this is a GPT. So if we go back to the standard interface of ChatGPT, I've got my GPTs down here. I've got the random task generator here, which for those that may not be familiar, I can set custom instructions or a prompt that just is reused every time. I don't have to keep rewriting that prompt. This prompt could be updated and to be a lot more comprehensive and robust, but it does the job as I need it.
Yeah, fantastic. And of course, the other thing is that the more you put into the prompt, the more you're rolling the dice, essentially, isn't it? You're adding complexity and criteria to the the output. So let's give it a whirl, shall we?
Absolutely. All right. So what we'll do is we will hit marketing focus. The way I like to keep myself to account is once I've hit play and then read it once, then I'll get the timer up on the right hand side which I'll tell it to monitor a 30-minute timer for us. And apologies in advance if I am beavering away and not talking or explaining anything, Dave. I hope you can fill in the blanks for me. But what I'm often doing is trying to focus to get something done, which is very loose and fast and messy. But I'll try and wrap up or explain what I'm doing either beforehand or as I've completed that particular part of the job, and we'll summarize where we can.
Well, I think one of the things we're going to see today is how good my vamping skills are, and so I think we're both under the pump in that respect. So let's give it a whirl. One thing while we're generating this, how did you come up with the idea for this?
Yeah, good question. I suppose I got a bit tired of watching people's demos that are all polished. And, you watch a lot of YouTube videos and think, oh, I can do that. That means I don't need to pay someone to do it, or I don't need to go and buy a course to learn. It's that easy. But as we all know, you start to unpack and build an agent or do something and you realize it's actually a lot harder than you think. So why not pull back the covers and show people what the reality is of how these tools work, A, in isolation, but B, together? Because a lot of demos are N8N or relay.app or how to use ChatGPT, but why don't we show people how to stack different tools to do things faster? And so it gives a really good visibility into it might give someone some inspiration to say, I do that task every day, or I might do that job that Mike's trying to build here, or a component of it. Why couldn't I use that tool in some way, shape or form to take a 40-minute job and turn it into a 5-minute job? There's lots of different opportunities there.
It's great, and I love the time boxing element to it, because there's this so much. I mean, I think you've probably experienced this, where you suddenly find yourself doing what you thought ostentatiously was a simple job, and then it's 2 a.m. and you're still vibe coding, trying to get it to work, or you've just gone off on a complete side quest. Something else has caught your eye. I think, one of the things that I find interesting about AI, and particularly, the sorts of tasks that you and I commonly do, is that often it's not hard to get it to 70% or 80%, but it's that last 10 to 20% that is really difficult. And what I like about what you're doing here is that actually, in some ways, you're sort of saying, well, whatever the output is, that's kind of good enough, which is actually no different to how you'd work with a human in an agency, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right. And I believe that's what you've said is accurate there. It's easy to get it to 90%, whether it be an app, a workflow, an output from ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you're using. That final 10% is actually 90% of the effort.
Yeah.
So I think we conflate what we're used to as humans as a one-to-one approach of I put in an hour and I get back an hour's worth of value in some way. With AI, it's quite different. I can put in 10 minutes to get an hour's worth of value, but that also goes the other way. To get that extra sort of 1% of value, I might need to put in 99%. And so I think it's important for people to realize, and I think we're all pretty aware of this now, that I can't just trust the first output.
No.
Often the first output is not even going to be what I use. I'm actually not using it to produce the final output. I'm actually just using it to ideate, to mock up, to get the brains, the juices flowing, so to speak. So the concept of working with, in my mind, a traditional agency that's bloated and has a lot of resource and weight and behind it, and that serves a purpose in some ways. There are tasks where that probably shouldn't be sent to an agency for various reasons, because of speed, because of cost, because of there's been a moment in culture and I need to react within 6 hours. We all know briefing is going to take longer than 6 hours. So why not use these tools to at least ideate, get something to your execs and go, have we got sign off for this? Should I go to my agency now to do it? That concept of a written brief or explaining something, I believe is dead. We should be demoing everything we build, or building everything, seeing if it lands with the person who's going to sign off or the customer, whatever it is, and then productionizing that with effort and quality. We're going to get much faster results. We're going to filter out the bad from the good pretty quickly with our ideas, and move a lot quicker as part of just getting work done. And we should be okay with just building stuff and throwing it away as well, because that's the beauty with these tools, is that there's some form of digital AI waste, but it's cost nothing in some way, shape or form. It's just human time to get it done.
One of the things I'm seeing is that you're getting this phenomenon of project managers being able to spin up prototypes, that are, I don't know, 70% good. They're not production ready. They're not integrated yet, but they're good enough for a proof of concept before it's even gone to developers or to the technologists, really, which is a really exciting kind of phenomenon. I think idea is that you can ideate a lot quicker and kind of run ideas through a little bit more rigor before you even get to kind of production, which is super exciting and seems like 5 years ago would seem unbelievable, right? So I think that
you're exactly right. I think the rise of the generalist has been talked about in some way, and the value that we can place on people who become a bit more of a Swiss Army knife with some of their skill set. Of course, you can still go very deep into an area and be a specialist, but if you can start to bolt on capabilities around, I can now write a really strong product requirements document, a PRD, and I can actually vibe code that to a mock-up. You think about the time that reduces on your design team or your UX team, and not to say that they become redundant, but just that they come in to do what they're really good at, which is not necessarily just spinning up mock-ups. And to the point of that 90 and 10%, they're the specialists at that 10%. So why not give them the tasks that they are highly equipped to do? By the same token, if you reverse that, how does a product person or a designer give something to marketing faster using AI tools? The trade-off that happens across swim lanes now. We don't necessarily have to wait for other functions as a dependency to get jobs done. We can, as we've talked about, do 80% of the work to at least get us to an idea, or at least to communicate better. Because half the time, as we know with businesses, is that communication is the biggest problem. Is I'm not actually able to talk in your language from your vantage point so that you can translate my vision into reality. But now you don't have to translate my vision. I can give you my vision. And now you can fill in the blanks and bring your expertise to the table based on what I've delivered to you in probably a fraction of the time.
It's phenomenal. I've worked in, a lot of tech organizations, and one of the things that I think that we take for granted, those of us who've worked in comms and marketing, is communication. That's something that either comes naturally to us or we've had a lot of training, so we know how to communicate. I feel like AI is really great leveler for actually helping people who are often technically and deep domain specialists be able to communicate better, because it's almost like an enhancer or an amplifier or a playing field leveler to make people be able to actually articulate what they're doing and what they want. And I'm all for it, because there's been this sort of chat about AI slop and all this kind of stuff, around the traps. But ultimately, one thing it is used well, it can actually seriously enhance and power up your communications between each other with different ways of demonstrating it, essentially.
Absolutely. I think, and just last point on that, I think, as you say, the great leveler that is AI, not only is for people, but then that cumulatively for businesses means that small organizations, I believe, have the advantage these days. If we can now, if tech has been democratized in such a way that I can access very cost-effective tools for $20 to $50 a month, which mean that I can do a third of the job of someone else now, and I can now launch that podcast I've always wanted to do because I just want another channel to own and be seen by my customer. Why would I not spin that up, test it, learn from it, see what happens, and then ditch it if it doesn't work? If it does work, but I'm still stretched as a human, should I pull away on another channel because I've actually found something that's producing more fruits? Like, the ability to test and learn now has never been easier. And I think, to your point around the communication piece, we as a function or as functions, we might be able to hand off, or we might be able to decentralize some of the capabilities that typically our function was the owner of and the gatekeeper for. And we should probably still have some facet of ownership or accountability for that, because functions are still very important from the lens of they are the experts in that particular domain. Again, we don't even have to be involved in every decision that's being made that comes from our function. We can actually deploy technology or agents to be the gatekeepers, so that we could give the sales team the assets and say, hey, put your spin on this and do what you need to do. But before you send this out to the customer, what we'd love for you to do is just to run it through a Claude skill, because that Claude skill, we have downloaded our knowledge around brand requirements, tone of voice guidelines, legal disclaimers have come into that. And whereby it basically gives the sales team and the rest of the business confidence that before they send it into the public domain, it's actually been reviewed by a marketer. The marketer just happens to be non-human, but we've battle tested it so much that we are confident that 999 out of 1,000 times that is going to give a satisfactory result. But you can imagine how that scales across functions, where we're deploying that capability to reduce the load on other parts of the business, to make sure that we as marketing, we as legal, we as sales, whatever it is, have given some form of authorization or a tick of approval to say, yes, this meets our requirements. There are edge cases we'll still get involved in, but for the 80-20 rule of this, it's going to cover most of the resources we would tend to deploy to help out.
There's a concept in poker called being pot committed, which is when you've got a terrible hand, but you've got too much money on the table, and you are you should fold, but you can't bring yourself to fold because you've got so much skin in the game. And it's just occurred to me that's the opportunity with AI, because half the time with particularly, let's say, creative, the problem is you've put so much work into it, to actually tank it is emotionally painful. And we've all, I'm sure anyone who's been in marketing or sales for any length of time has had that thing where they go to pitch and realize the idea isn't actually right, and half the time I think it's because of that pot committed concept, and with AI now we can create stuff that's much more lightweight in terms of effort, and you can be a lot less more dispassionate with how you view that work, because it hasn't, like you said, it's 70% there. It's only taken 10 minutes of effort, let's say. So therefore, you can actually go, this idea isn't really good. And you're also living in abundance because you have other stuff that's created with that kind of lightweight framework as well.
Love that. I'm just writing down. I love that parallel in those concepts. I'll have to credit you when the content comes out around that. I love that. It's the pot committed, and my mind goes to the sunk cost fallacy and all the rest of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
should we rock on?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's have a read through, and then Dave, between us, we can determine whether this is a good one to focus on, or we can re-trigger another and make a call as well.
Okay, cool.
So we're being asked here to plan an initiative, design a lightweight micro launch initiative for a new product feature using AI to research, prioritize, script, and package the launch into a single deliverable. You have a new feature launching next week. There's no formal campaign yet, and you need a tight, clear, and persuasive one-page launch plan to circulate internally. So my view, okay, if I was to do this on my own, I'd either bin it, I wouldn't do it, or I would enrich it, and I would say, we're not just going to do a one-page launch plan, we're going to put AI video tools to the test, where we're going to do the launch plan, which might come up as a PowerPoint through Gamma, and we might even produce a mock-up video somehow to show this product. Now, I actually haven't given video Gen AI a crack around product and mocking up that type of stuff, but we could give that a go.
Well, let's have a look. I mean, I think it's worthwhile, giving our promise to the viewers, which is that we'll show it warts and all. So even if it's not, the idea is not to produce something that's necessarily perfect, even though both of us are super ambitious and like to do that. So yeah, let's give it a blast. I think we'd have to have a bit of a think about what the product is.
Yes.
And so maybe we brainstorm that, and then you can do the whisper upload, or do you want to dump this one and go for something else?
Let's give this one a go. Let's push the limits. What I've found is that when there are multiple outputs, like a PowerPoint and a video or a song or an application, it's great, because I get to 30 minutes and I'm like, I just need 3 more. So we'll see where we get to. I think, just to give some context, what we do is we'll use Whisper Flow, which it's basically a voice dictation tool. So for those that won't be able to see my keypad, instead of me typing as much as possible, I will use this. I will hold down a key, talk to the screen, it will dictate, and that's how I'll submit my ideas. We won't use Fireflies because that's where my work calls are coming from, but what we'll use is ChatGPT, or probably ChatGPT, to be honest, to generate fake transcript calls, which will feed into our concept. We will use the deep research agent. We'll use 3 different ones because sometimes they take a bit longer than you want. So we'll use GPT, Claude, and Gemini to put them on their way, and we'll get back some information which we can use and contribute to the competitor messaging angles that it's asked for here. We'll use ChatPRD. I've got an account for that. It's a bit slow, so we'll run ChatPRD to generate product requirement details, or the product requirement document, I should say, around the user problem and value prop. We'll do that in ChatPRD plus in ChatGPT. So if PRD takes too long, we've got the ChatGPT output. Then we will use Gamma to produce the presentation, the one-pager about the launch plan. And then, as we've talked about, what we'll do is we will bolt on use Revy first to generate the image that'll be the baseline for the products that we're going to do. And then we will use Nano Banana if we need it to optimize that image in some way if we want to refine it. And then we'll use VO3 to produce an 8-second video of that product as a mock-up to bring it to life in some way. So we'll have a think through what that looks like. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit timer. Sometimes what I'll do is I will actually chat to this and just start to help me get some ideas. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a micro launch initiative for a new product feature. Okay, when I hear product feature, I'm thinking more SaaS, but as I'm spinning it out in my mind, maybe we do a physical product because it's easier to do video for. So
well, I was thinking about a game in New Zealand which is really common in all schools is Foursquare, right?
Cool, let's do Foursquare.
And I think with Foursquare, we probably need some enhancements to it to make it a professional game because it's actually entirely, for kids mostly.
Okay, cool. So I'm just going to jump in here, Dave. Sorry to interrupt.
Go.
We're going to do Foursquare as the game, and we're going to release it for adults to play at the beach because we're coming into summer. How does that work?
Exactly. That sounds perfect.
I'm going to talk to it now. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the branching capability because that gives me, branch basically takes the prompt and the outputs we already have, and it gives me a new window or chat thread to talk in. And I'm going to do that a couple of times because I want the context from the assignment and I want to have multiple chats with ChatGPT that don't cross over. So with this one here, we're going to first generate the transcript, the fake transcript that we would typically get from Fireflies. Okay, please generate for me a fake 10-minute conversation between a CMO and a CEO and the chief product development type officer around a business idea where they want to release a new product for the game Foursquare, which is a very prominent game in schools in New Zealand that you play with a ball and basically bounce around and get other people out. And basically what this is all about is the adult market is untapped. We're coming to summer. There's an opportunity to take this product to market and advertise for playing at the beach. The concerns are around we're going to make the product in New Zealand. It's not going to be from overseas. Key selling points are it's easy to set up. It's packable. I can throw it in the back of the car. And the information around deadlines and dependencies is we have to have 2 different colors and varieties. We need it to be waterproof, of course, because it's going to be at the beach. We need the release to happen by 1st of December because we need to be in market for Christmas. So the launch plan should be focused around the Christmas campaign and details about the product. How's that?
That sounds great. Yeah, I'm already excited to see this launch.
All right, so I'm just going to get open my other apps that I will need as well because we don't want to get caught short. So we've got Gamma, which is the PowerPoint creation. We're going to run our deep research agent around that. So off the back of this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to produce a deep research agent brief, which I will then use to get us was it competitor insights or customer insights? Competitor messaging angles. So we use GPT for that. And we will also, for those that aren't familiar with deep research, this is a phenomenal way to basically have your AI scour the web, find insights about a product or a topic that you might be focused on, and instead of having to look through 30 to 40 different websites to find information,
it is a little bit like when the dessert trolley comes to your table and you just can't decide. It's just too much. I always find that with deep research. It's like, oh my god,
it is overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's create a new branch. All right, what we're going to do here is we're going to generate the research brief. Just double check the task again. Investigate competitor message angles. Create for me a short brief that looks into competitor messaging from international and local players for this market that I can send to a deep research agent to go and find out about competitor messaging, but also customer insight messaging as well. So that'll create the brief, and then I'll use that within the deep research agents to get the task underway. We've got our transcript. Investigate. Make sure that that's included in the brief. I could refire this. I'll just redo it. It's cool.
So
updating the brief. Sorry.
I'll be intrigued to see what it actually thinks the competitors actually are, to Foursquare. For me, it would be like beach cricket or, perhaps, other summer games, tennis, that sort of thing.
So for people that aren't familiar, this is Foursquare.
Yeah.
Basically, 4 quadrants, you skim the ball between each other, trying to get each other out. So it'd be really difficult to do at a beach, but we'll see what they come up with.
Yeah, totally. I think that's one of the features. I think one of the other features about Foursquare, which I think has, would be interesting if we ever commercialized it, is that the number 4, the king or queen, decides what the rules are. So if you get to the top, you can actually decide the style of game you want to play.
Absolutely. All right, cool. We've got our chat PRD open as well. We've got Gamma, and then we're also going to use Gemini, VO3, and Revi to create the image, aren't we? So for those that aren't familiar, Revi is mid-journey in the back end, but basically gives me an opportunity to produce multiples of creative from one prompt, which gives us more creative control and flexibility. What we will do now is, and this is where the task starts to become difficult because you're doing a lot of context switching very quickly. Okay, we're going to send the deep research agent on its way. I'm not going to read that for now because I'm going to trust that it's done its job. We're going to run, I couldn't find deep research within Gemini. I don't know if they've changed it thanks to
Gemini 3. Yeah, that's weird.
We'll skip that for now. We'll put the report into ChatGPT. We'll put this into Claude. And for those that aren't familiar, what it'll do is it'll come back with some questions to help clarify the research brief. Are there any specific or regional players beyond Spikeball and CrossNet that you definitely want included? We definitely want Spikeball included. I don't even know what CrossNet is, I'll be honest. Our sales channels, we are focusing on social only to launch this. For now, we don't have distribution into physical stores. We want Instagram we want Instagram as our focus channel for now. And we want to basically go viral. So that's helped to clarify the brief. Claude is going to do the same. Timeline. I need the research right now in the next 5 minutes. My approximate retail price point, I don't see this being more than $100. We want to appeal to mass market. This is not a premium product. And retail is, we're going to go D2C and online with a big push through social media. So yeah, we'll see what the insights are that come back.
And Whisper works through all, it basically allows you to work in any kind of chat channel or any kind of LLM.
Correct. And the beauty is that it's pretty good at understanding the Kiwi accent, which
that's great. Yeah.
Makes life easy. Okay, we've got our research brief. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bit of a description now on the product. So we're going to, before we get competitor insights, we're going to look at the product and create a mock-up. Create for me a very high-level brief for an image mock-up that I could produce of the product. I want to be very specific, photorealistic, and all the other. I've got an image generator prompt, which would be better for this job. Here we go, image gen prompt. So this is similar to a GPT, but within Gemini.
Gems.
It's a gem, yep. You've got it. And it's going to produce for me a much more detailed prompt. So I should, in theory, get a better outcome.
Yeah, fantastic.
And what I'll do is I'll produce a picture of the product, and then I'll create another image. I haven't given it the context of the product, of course.
It's interesting, with Gemini 3 being, at the time of recording, it was released a couple of days ago. And I think the bit that I'm just wrapping my head around right now is around the generative UI that it's really going all in on, and what that's going to mean in terms of how we search and how we interact with the products. Is, if we believe the hype that Google has put around it, is going to change quite dramatically in terms of how the interface looks and acts now. Have you had any time to have a think about that and how it will impact?
Just going back to our timer. Okay, we're a third of the way through.
Sweet.
Yeah, the anti-gravity concepts are fascinating in terms of that new UI and how that works to be able to improve the way that we can build applications. And then the agent mode across workspaces will be game-changing. So having all that context across your entire browser, being able to render UIs and applications in real time and in quite a fluid motion is pretty powerful. And then the models themselves are incredible. The outputs I've seen have been great. But I think with anything, like I'm very used to Claude and ChatGPT. I use Gemini for work. So I'm still having to, it's less about the model quality. It's more around me working with the model and figuring out how I can get more out of it.
I think I'm with you. There's a weird thing where you go, I'm so used to ChatGPT or I'm so used to Claude, but these tools have become part of our stack so quickly. 6 months ago, I wasn't even using Google Gemini. And and so you just kind of get used to it as a tool, but then you realize that actually that relationship isn't that deep or long.
Absolutely. Okay, what I'm doing here is I've got the image prompt. As you can see, this is much more specific, all the detail around the subject. There's a whole bunch of information here, so we'll see what that comes out with Revi. See, that's pretty cool.
That's not bad at all. Wow, and they've thought about, that's great. They've thought about how the ball will bounce.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with that. I think that gives us the marketing. Okay, we'll go with these two. One of these two.
Yeah.
Probably
I
that.
think the one on the left, that one with the foreshadowing is great. He looks like he's
So
having an awesome time.
what we'll do is we can now take that. This is excellent. I want you to maintain character consistency and produce for me 3 different angles with different people playing the game with one person at each corner of the square that's on the ground. I don't want to give it too much because I find if you give image prompts too much detail when you're trying to iterate, it actually just loses character consistency. Like, it's fine for that first shot to produce the first image, but when you're iterating, you almost sometimes want to keep it more simple. What I'm also going to do is I want to create a version of the product that's just the product, as if it's like a box that would go on shelf. Create for me a version of what you've described for the product only, not including the humans or the background or anything else. And I want you to describe what the product would look like in its packaging, and then have the package against a white background with the product open next to the product packaging, so we get 2 views of it.
So for those at home, what we've done is we've gone back to the gem, the custom GPT. Yeah, that's all good.
Create for me taking the same inputs taking the same of the specifics about the product only, remove all the people in the background, and I just want to see what the product looks like out on the floor as if it's laid out, but against a very white background. And then I also want a box beside it, and that box would be the packaging that the product would go into.
This is back in the image generator prompt, which you've got. Oh, and then you're going to take that prompt and put it into the image generator to produce your image, right?
Absolutely. So we've got our images here, and I'll make them big screen. So a different view. Something's going on with the hand there, so we might not use that one. The numbers are all off, but let's just pretend that's variation. Something's up with the hand here, but that's fine. This is for the execs. They're not going to look in the detail for now. We're just trying to get sign off, aren't we? Great. So now we're going to get rid of that one. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go into Gemini VO3.
What I'm really impressed with is your ability to multi-tab here. This is having the understanding of how the different models work and their strengths and weaknesses is really sort of a big part of the game these days, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Talk about the concept of like AI instinct, and I think it applies in this case where what we're trying to do is, because you just have an instinctive understanding that's not going to work. You have an instinctive understanding of what the tools can do and where you can start to make decisions pretty quick. But that only comes with mucking around with the tools and figuring out what works for you.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think AI is both good and dangerous for is side quests. So, you end up starting with one thing, and then it's such novel technology that you end up kind of going down rabbit holes. Well, certainly that's how I find myself. And I think allowing yourself that time, as long as it doesn't mean you blow a deadline or something like that, is really important, because that's how you build up that AI instinct you're talking about.
Absolutely. 30 minutes is a great deadline to work towards. Let's see where we get to. So I'm going to get rid of that one. Okay. What else do we have? The chat PRD we've actually gone off script here. We haven't used chat PRD as we'd like. So let's bin that, because we know what we're doing. Let's see what our research has come back with. So it's still figuring things out. Okay, this one's not running for me. That was supposed to say go. Let's see if it interprets it. Okay, we've got the video is being generated over here. We've got our starting image. So let's get started on here.
And this platform is ChatGBR, is that right? Or
this one's Gamma. So Gamma is basically Google Slides, but AI version, or PowerPoint with AI version. Cool. I can give it information and it will basically produce. Okay, Claude's not working for me, so we're just going to run with ChatGPT's research. Unfortunately, ChatGPT's research is not that great. It's not as comprehensive for deep research as Gemini or Claude. You can see it's gone through 9 sources. Claude would go through 500. Gemini would go through at least a couple hundred, and we get a much richer insight. Such is the way of the road with this stuff. But we'll do one more check to see if deep research is available within the paid account. It is. So let's run that just for comprehensiveness. So clearly with the Gemini 3 coming out, they've made changes to the accounts and what you can access through the free account. Through my work account, I've got paid, which means I can A, access VO3 to do videos, and B, deep research agents. I don't seem to have that in the free account.
The monetization begins. Cool. Yeah. They're having a great time. Yeah.
That'll do. They're American accents, unfortunately, and if we had the time, this is what I love about Gemini, a much tidier research brief that you can edit, but we'll just kick that off for now. If we had time, I'd probably use 11 Labs and have some voiceover coming through.
Yep.
Let's see if I can turn this into a slide deck really quickly.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Product coming to market for Foursquare in NZ. We'll try add in some competitor some research. That's not going to be done yet. Let's see what we come out with. Generate. So what I'm doing is I'm putting in the context from the transcript, from the conversation between the execs to inform hopefully the campaign. As you know, we didn't read that in detail, but we're tight on time. I would have loved to included the competitive research as well to inform some of that. So it's freeform, 10 cards imported. Let's make it come up with a new style. I can change that to UK, the view of the theme. I've got my updated themes in here. I might let it freewheel a bit. Let's do that theme. Let's generate. Let's see what it comes up with. We've got our video, so we can, pretending we're doing this properly, I would probably create a folder. I would say, I don't even know what the product's called yet. We haven't given it a name, have we?
Yeah. I think for Foursquare, I've just done a very quick mental trademark check, and I think we've got the trademark, so we can proceed with confidence on that one.
Wow. That's not a known brand anywhere else overseas. What about Square? Oh, Square Up's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, cool. Square Up's great. Let's go Square Up. Love that.
Let's go Square Up.
That's just in case. Yeah.
Cool. So this is Foursquare in action, and what we'll see here, and the great thing is I can start to add in bits and pieces as it's building this.
Yep.
Maybe I'll just show people how it looks when it's being built, because that's always kind of interesting to watch. You can see it's
just loving it. It's incredible.
It's not bad, isn't it? Like, of course, there's a lot that we need to work on, but you think about the time that this has saved a marketer or someone else who the marketer's away for the week and I need to come up with something quick. What am I going to do?
The marketer's great. It's come back. Actually, I had someone on my team once go away for a week, and they came back and I'd spun up a website, and yeah, they were like, yeah, it's great. And they were sort of like, I'm never going on holiday again. Hey, Mike, this has been like a absolutely great speed run through how to kind of multi-tab and use across different browsers. And I think what I loved about how you went about this is there's a sort of joyful chaos to the whole thing. It's sort of there's a structure there, but there's this kind of freedom in how it's all rolling out, which is so different to how we're used to interfacing with software.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it. Just before we start to close up, like, look at this. Think about how long that took in Gemini. So I haven't used this since Gemini 3 came out. I'm assuming Gemini 3 is now behind their deep research agent. Yeah. This has been running for, how long have we been going for? We've been
half an hour.
23 minutes. 14 sources from ChatGPT. We still haven't got anything. Gemini spun that up in a minute, and look at the
blazing.
It's you can't, you would pay a company or a person to do that for days, to go and find that information, understand it, synthesize it, produce a report. We've now got a full working report that we can make use of. So let's just finish off with a high. What would I do here? Let's just take that. We've got our video. I'm gonna ignore this ChatGPT. You're done. Sorry. What we're gonna do is come up with, give me from this research 3 unique selling points that we win over the competition that I should include as part of my business case to the execs around why this product and the launch plan and what we should be doing. Just to see what it comes out with. But let's have a quick review. So here's our product, and here's another view of that. We would probably have the video in here to say, look, Foursquare is woven into every childhood game. The rules are universal. Nostalgia is real. Beach season is approaching, and adults are looking for another social way to get together and hang out. Foursquare is another way to do that. We can do it across barbecues. It knows about Aotearoa, beaches, batches, campsites. Product design, waterproof, ultra packable, 3-minute setup. Great. 2 color variants. We would go into, let's do it. We've got the time. We've got 1 minute. We would go into Nano Banana, and we will take one of the images and we will change the color of the product. Let's see if we can get that done accurately. So we've said we want ocean blue and sunset orange. We've got ocean blue. Change the product. Sorry, we've got sunset orange.
Yeah.
let's see what that comes up with. And then we might be able to add our product in. I'm not going to do that for now. Let's just keep moving on for now. Just thinking about, okay, New Zealand made, great. Turn that into 3 headlines with a single sentence underneath each. So we've got our product made by Kiwi, made in Aotearoa, but built for Kiwis. Positioning, nostalgia meets adult social play. So this is probably where we'd build in the video, we'd embed it so they can see the 8-second clip there. 2-phase launch, teaser phase. We could then go and build in Lovable, for example, a Mockup website, which we could show to say this is what this could look like. There's a timeline, there's a price behind it. There we go. We've got the blue version.
That's great. Yeah, looking good.
Yeah, we probably want the ball to be blue too, but I'm not going to be picky at this point. And let's just put the finishing touches on this part. And I'd say we've done a pretty good amount of work. That would take some people weeks. That would take some people, they would perfect it to the nth degree. What we've done here is we've really chosen speed. And look at that.
It's amazing. It's so great. And I think, if there are any investment firms watching, we are available for productizing Foursquare, and, seed funding is very welcome at this point.
Absolutely. Hopefully that was valuable, interesting, and something different. I'd love to run another one if that works. It's always fun to bounce ideas with someone, but hopefully that was useful.
Well, hopefully you'll come back. We'd love to have you, and looking forward to to more collaboration. That's it. We're done and dusted. It's been a fantastic episode. A high-wire act with multi-tab extravaganza AI action. Big thank you to Mike from AI Corner and Allexive. I will leave all the links to find Mike and his couple of entities that he represents in the show notes. If you've gotten this far, we really appreciate it. If you could help us out some more, we'd appreciate it even more. Give us a like, a comment, or subscribe. Slideshow has been a production of Europa Creative Partners. Thanks for listening and watching wherever you are.